that's it. I think we're live. Oh. Okay. Let's see. Oh man, that's just not gonna work. Shit. There's Rennie first as always. Check 1, 2. Sounds good. Oh, I'd love to forget about you.
Something, walk on by.
Man, you kill songs, dude. You're the worst at lyrics of anyone ever.
Tell me.
Good evening and welcome to UGC's
That is not what I meant to do.
What's that?
I started playing a test video. It was one of UGC's old Riff Talk videos.
Oh, Seth, you there? Can we hear you?
Yep, I can hear you.
Right on.
Right on, right on, right on.
How's everyone doing?
Pretty good. Let the group show up here. There's a couple more.
I'm excited you guys decided to do a topic on this. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, it took us long enough.
Right.
I think it was July where you suggested it. I was looking at my messages and
Yeah. Yeah, I sound crazy to like my friends and family because I'm just like nuts into it. But
everybody knows that one guy who just can't stop talking about it. If you're that guy, you're that guy. But everybody knows that guy.
Right.
Exactly.
Are we already live on YouTube?
We are live, yeah.
All right, I just have to go in here and get the address.
Okay, let's see.
Okay.
I want to give a little bit of a gate on this real quick. Right back.
Who's the chick that... Oh, that's your old lady, I bet. How do I left click here?
Am I playing sound?
No, that's me, son of a bitch. And no sound. Got to copy this. I'm sharing the links out there real quick. Did you already put it in the group, Everett?
No, I have not.
Oh, I'll take care of that.
Oh, we got Nick in chat. What's up, Nick? What's my secret, Rennie? Starve myself, more or less.
First again,
Crack cocaine is not really a secret.
Everett sits here in the office and does big fat light bulbs of fucking meth right during fucking the work day.
And you'd be surprised how much the difference is between a 60-watt bulb and a 100-watt bulb when you're really going for it.
I lean my head around my monitor and I'm like, are you still at it? Son of a bitch.
My mic sounds really hot. Does it sound really hot to you? Okay.
It's loud.
Check 1, 2. Is it still fucking woo-woo?
No, it's not too bad.
Okay. Whoa.
Something going on there.
Something going on.
Your woman vacuuming?
Somebody vacuuming?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Smelt me.
A little background noise.
I don't hear it.
Weird. Let me see what I can do.
All right. Yeah, this should be a pretty good one. Me and Everett have argued over cryptocurrencies all morning.
Yeah. Well, the most exciting stuff is the technology behind it and the implications that it means for society.
I mean, maybe. Well, I don't know. We'll get into it. I got some questions.
Right. I hear you.
What's up, Jay? Sound like my mic on Xbox. Oh, that's great.
Does it still sound like that?
Yeah. Could you put the guest name instead of guest? Who was the lazy one today? Aha. That was Everett. The guest is... Did you get it? No, it's still there, man. I can hear it.
Here, I'll go see if I can get another headphone.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible. Yo.
I'll go ahead and add the. Can you hear me? Is this thing on?
That one is.
Okay. I'll go ahead and add in his name because that would be the nice thing to do.
Where'd you come up with this this title for the fucking show today?
Me?
Blockchain, Bitcoin, and cryptocurrency. Oh my!
Kind of like like a fucking.
No, I
Lions
get
of
it.
Tigers and Bears.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Nobody gets it. It's like the scary type of shit people hear about. I don't know what it is. Oh my! You don't like it? We'll change the fucking thing.
No, I just think it's kind of. I mean, it's a little cheesy, but it is what it is.
They're always cheesy.
Hey, look, Rennie, we're giving the shirts away today. I got them all right here. We're gonna listen to all the voicemails and everything. See the shirts right here? Bunches of them. Actually, there's like 4, but we're giving them fuckers away today. So, there's your answer.
Is it still buzzing?
No, it's not buzzing anymore.
Let me turn it back up a little.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, a little bit.
Turn it down. Just a little.
Here, I'll try the other headphones.
Is Seth sitting beside a black hole? Yes, he is, Frank. He is on the event horizon of the black hole.
That's a pretty good guess, Frank.
Yeah, gosh.
That'll work.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I meant like on my stream thing, like that. His
All right.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's
Good?
Yep. That'll work.
Give me a couple.
Let's get this show on the
check,
road.
check. My name is Seth.
Check. Mega Seth.
Mega Seth?
That's pretty good.
Yep.
We are the Mega Gargantuans. We named ourselves before learning we were small.
Okay, off with this fucking thing.
All right, you ready?
I think so. Just let me go.
Ready.
Get through this in my head a few more times. Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, start the show?
Claim that Satoshi.
You want to start the show? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, who's Bongoloid? I like that name. Like Mongoloid, but Bongoloid.
I've been there. I've been boggle-loaded.
Do you guys accept Bitcoin for donations? You damn right we do.
We do?
Yeah.
No, I mean, we're not set up for it.
But we will.
I guess. I guess I'll throw out my wallet address.
Well, no, we don't want to
My
do.
wallet, motherfucker.
We don't want to do that.
Why not? It's just send it here. That's how you do it.
Smell a SASE to
Trust David. Surreal Talk. Care of Eric.
care of Eric.
All right, you ready to actually start the show or what? So
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Ready to go?
Let's go.
You're listening to Surreal Talk, a look inside the world of cults, conspiracies, and the paranormal.
Something's not right, man. Something's not right. Something's bullshit here, and I don't believe it.
Honestly, this crazy shit could be completely possible.
Disclaimer, we reserve the right to be wrong, ladies and gentlemen. You think you know the whole story? Think again.
Now your hosts, Eric and Everett.
Welcome to Surreal Talk, a look inside the world of cults, conspiracies, and the paranormal, a lineupmedia.fm production. And
Cults,
we
conspiracies,
are
and paranormal,
back.
and other things.
And other things,
Like today.
like cryptocurrency.
Anyway, yeah. We are back.
So I guess we just kind of blew the lid on
What we're
the
doing
show is
today?
about today.
I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah.
But it's been 2 weeks since we had a show. Our last show was the end of the year show.
Year in
Where we
review.
said we were going to give away a bunch of shirts. So we might as well get started into that. What we asked people to do was send us a voicemail. Go to our website, surrealtalkpodcast.com, and find the little leave us a voicemail thing. It's not hard to find. it basically comes up and jumps at you every time you go on the page. But we received a lot of entries, a lot of people wanting to win a shirt or just say hey. So first thing we wanted to do on today's show is go through and play a bunch of those. Some of them were great. Some of them were just good. Some of them were head scratchers. But all of them were, cool.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
And we'll try to pick the best one.
Andrew from The
shirts.
Office left one, too. I don't know which one is him. He said he used a fake voice, so I don't know.
I hope it's the one. That one's the best one.
So we started out with two of them from Andrew Berardi, friend of the show, group member, been listening for a long time. So let's just get started, and we'll go from there.
Hey, guys. What's up, man? Just want to let you know you guys are doing a great job.
Thanks.
I know it's probably tough to keep on this.
It is.
Doing it.
It is.
I know. I've been listening to it since almost day one. And I had a recommendation. Maybe you could record 2 or 3 shows in one day and then have a couple weeks off after
Easy.
that, if that helps. You could start hardcore the day before you did 3
I mean, I
episodes
wouldn't
in one
mind
day
that,
and then be good for a couple weeks. But I just want to let you guys know, doing a great job, man.
All right. First things first, 3 in a day. I wouldn't mind doing 3 shows in a day, but the amount of research you'd have to retain to do a show.
It's not.
When we do one of these shows, you got to get in the mindset of that show, so to speak.
Not only that, but like after the show, and I know Everett's mentioned it before, and it's the same with me. It's hard to think about, like, so whenever it was just a hobby and I didn't do the show and I just like conspiracies, that shit stuck around. You know what I mean? But now when we're like researching these topics,
Well, you might be on one topic for 2 months before.
Yeah, right.
Every night down that same
and
rabbit hole.
Could have it down.
You don't have that luxury anymore, so to speak.
No, I don't. But yeah, it's hard to remember what we talk about sometimes.
Let's keep pounding through these. Here's another one from Andrew. Maybe.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's Andrew.
Hey.
One of these things I really wanted to talk about was Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Wow, that's convenient.
And the crazy mayhem surrounding it.
We're going to do that today,
There's
bud.
definitely a lot of conspiracies with that shit for sure.
Go on.
I mean, one, to take over,
The
or
world?
to take back the money from the government and have the money in control of the people.
Yeah,
and
damn
the other
right.
things is, if I'm not mistaken, they got caught for insider trading and they're stopping the futures on the stock market. I think it'd be kind of an interesting topic, especially what's going on these days.
Yeah, we're going to do it today,
And,
man.
Again, Merry Christmas, guys. Well,
Merry
let you know
Christmas
you're doing
to
a
you.
great job. But I think people need to hear about the Bitcoin and all these fucking other coins, Litecoin, your mother's coin. I mean, there's all these
Your
fucking
mother's
coins.
coin.
Who knows what to do with that
Dogecoin.
shit anymore?
Yeah, dude.
But
Who you
there's
guys know about
definitely something
Dogecoin yet
behind
or
it
what?
That's fishy and potentially good at the same time. So love to hear about that whenever you guys get a chance, man. And by the way, doing good, guys. Take care.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. All right, that was a good one. 2
You
in a row
like how
from
we
Andrew
talk
there.
to the voicemails?
I can't help it.
Neither can I,
Can't
but
help
I
it.
feel like I have to.
All right, here's one from Blaine Gilliam. I don't know if I should be saying these names. I'm doing it.
If they left anonymous, I would say.
I mean, you
that-
could put anonymous on there. So anyway,
Hey, Eric and Everett. Here's 2018. I hope you guys can pull a few more awesome episodes out of your asses for
believe
next
that.
year, because I sure do enjoy listening to you guys in the car as well as in the gym.
Yay.
Happy holidays from
Happy
Tennessee.
holidays.
Tennessee. All right,
I could tell from the accent.
you can tell exactly that was Tennessee.
Yeah, it was southern
not just
Tennessee, just
southern-
around.
Like South Nashville.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I'm sorry, that was Western Tennessee around Memphis.
Yes. I'll have to try again. Better luck next time.
All right, moving on. Kevin Yarrow, another longtime listener of the show, big
Yep.
friend on the group. Here we go. I can only imagine what this is going to be coming from Kevin.
I don't know.
Hey, Surreal Talk. This is Kevin. Shit, piss, dick, cunt, fart. Merry Christmas.
Beautiful.
I agree.
Beautiful. Thank
Very
you, Kevin,
beautiful.
for that. Merry Christmas.
Kevin's in the lead so far as for a shirt, so we're gonna put that one was good.
All right, here's one from a guy we play on Xbox with. I'll let it speak for itself. Matt Van Stratton.
Wait a minute, on Xbox. Who the fuck?
What's
is that?
up, Everett?
Hey. Oh wait.
Eric.
Oh.
Homegrown. Pigpen.
How does he know
Matt
that?
Van Stratton.
We played with him forever.
AKA
Just listen.
MVS 42.
MVS 42.
Calling because I just love the show. Listen to you guys on my commute.
Oh no shit.
Was thinking about maybe you guys doing a topic on maybe 9/11.
Been there. Good
I
show.
like it.
I don't
That's a
know
good
how
idea.
far back you guys talked about it or not, but thought I'd give this voicemail thing a try.
Appreciate
just wanna
it.
Say keep working hard and
Well,
like I said, I've been
Hardly
listening to
working.
you guys. Shout out my boy Ryan McVeigh, a.k.a. I Throw Force, for putting you guys on.
It's more like
me.
sixes, let's be honest.
Appreciate all you do. Keep going. Thanks.
Thanks, Matt. That was a good one. And this one,
Definitely.
this next one is the New Gland, the Drumming Christmas Elf. I have no clue. I listened to all these once, and I kind of already lost them all.
All right.
But
Let's see what we got.
I'm sitting here listening to this Christmas stuff episode.
Uh-oh.
Eric, buddy,
Uh-oh.
I like the way you think. I like
Oh,
what
right
you
on,
do.
yeah. Me too.
Now, that motherfucker Everett, on the other hand,
Yes. What's this
I got
guy's name?
something for you.
He's in the running.
I don't know what that meant.
buddy.
Is that pleasure or
Merry
pain?
Christmas.
I don't know if that was pleasure or pain.
I couldn't tell. Merry Christmas to you, too. That was good. He
New
called you a
Gland.
motherfucker. What was that guy's name? He's down
New
in the...
Gland, the Drumming Christmas Elf.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to track down, but at this point in the year, he's back up at the North Pole, I got to believe, worried about 2018 Christmas.
Cussing you out.
All right, the next one we have is a NA Anonymous. Who knows what this is about?
Uh-oh.
Hey guys, listen, you guys
Hey.
doing a great fucking job on this podcast.
Thank you.
I've been a listener over a year. Doing a great job, man. Keep it up.
We
Hey,
will.
if you get a chance, man, look it up. Chemtrails. Apparently, airplanes are leaving chemtrails all over. And wanted to see what's
Never
your
heard of
take
that.
on that. See if you guys can do a podcast on it.
Chemtrails, that's one of
All right,
Eric's
man.
favorite things.
Like I
I'm gonna
said,
write
doing a
that down.
fucking amazing job.
Thank
Keep
you.
rocking it, man.
Let's talk about that real quick. Are we ever going to do a specific chemtrail show?
Nope.
Why not?
Because it's kind of bullshit.
Kinda. I mean, we still should have, bullshit or not. I mean, maybe one of these days. Maybe, you know how Andrew was saying maybe we do more than one show in a day? I mean, that's when we could do like a 15-minute afterwards.
Yeah. Here's the show. Welcome to Surreal Talk. Chemtrails is the topic
Let's
today.
go to Ollie
It's
for the truth on
bullshit.
chemtrails.
Yeah.
Chemtrails bullshit.
Chemtrails
Thanks,
bullshit.
Ollie.
Yep. Show over. Thanks, guys.
Okay, this next one's from someone calling himself Shit Ripper and is my personal favorite so far.
Shit Ripper?
Shit Ripper.
Okay.
Eric and Everett, I got a conspiracy for you. But for real, y'all need to check out
Shit
the
Ripper's on the list.
SpaceX thing that was supposedly UFO
What are
and
we talking about?
the
See the pictures
where
from
the
like
cool
30
Department of
years ago?
Defense released
Same exact
information
thing.
that they had
Hold on, we'll come back.
confirmation of UFOs.
Wait a minute. Oh, that's because the government released that
Right.
video as well with the guy going, bro. The dude bros in the plane.
That was great. The dude,
Yeah,
bro.
the dude bros.
It's a drone, bro.
Bro.
There's a bunch of
Bro,
them,
there's
bro.
a fleet of them, bro.
That's what it was.
Dude.
No, but that video image of what was supposedly the SpaceX rocket over LA, pretty weird looking.
It was weird looking, but if you look back, they got pictures from like 40 years ago of the exact same thing. And I know 40 years ago wasn't the SpaceX rocket.
Probably not, no. All right.
I mean, like literally, look pictures of up in the sky, and it's the same fucking pattern. You know what I mean?
Weird. All right, next one's again by Andrew Berardi. He sent us 3 mails.
blowing us
he's
up.
He's almost winning by default. You just gotta
Right.
give him a volume award. Here we go.
You motherfuckers.
That's fair.
Okay,
You know
agreed.
you two are just two big fucking jabronis.
It's also true.
You know
Agreed.
that, right? First off, you got fucking Seth Rogen in the corner swallowing CERN stick.
Swallowing. Ah!
I ain't never swaddled no dick.
Swallowing
Maybe my own.
everything the government feeds down
That
his
is
throat.
just.
It's
not
all
true.
good though. At least we got Eric with his
This
tinfoil
doesn't sound
hat
like
in the
Andrew. But
corner,
it could be.
trying to make everyone woke as fuck.
Is that what he's trying
But
for?
I don't know if that's my agenda, but
I don't like you guys taking all these weeks off.
oh yeah,
This is just fucking rude.
rude.
Just straight rude.
I agree.
Rude.
But hopefully you can redeem yourselves this year. And Everett, even though I am Team Everett, you better stop swallowing, bro, and wake the fuck
Even as a dick
up,
swaddler,
bro.
Team Everett. I like
Yeah.
that.
Thanks, guys.
So he totally negates the fact that you swallow dick. He's still on your
He's
team.
not saying swallow. He's saying swaddle.
No, he said swallow.
I'm pretty sure it's swaddle.
No,
We
you
gotta
swallow.
start it over.
Swallow CERN's dick.
Hold on, I'm gonna
You
finish.
motherfuckers.
I like that, but
First off, you got fucking Seth Rogen in the corner swallowing CERN's.
that's swaddle.
You're wrong.
All right, chat. Whenever you finally make this 30 seconds from now. Hey, Seth, what do you think? Is that swaddle? Can you hear that?
Oh, Victor Sanchez.
I don't know. It's hard for me to even say.
Yeah, I'm going to play it one more time because I think it's swaddle.
Swallowing CERN's dick.
I think it's swallow.
Why would you swaddle a dick?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Is Andrew in chat today? He's in there a few times. I don't know. We'll get to that one later. But that's the mystery. Okay, the next one's by from a Brad Wright. I don't recognize the name, but here we go.
All right, well, this is something I wanted to tackle with someone because you guys don't know. This is Steve-O, and I'm saying reach out to about the Kurt Cobain conspiracy and the Michelle Obama dick theory. I've always heard that Michelle Obama had a big dick, but nobody even conquered that subject yet. So go ahead and do your thing, boys. Rock on, you guys roll.
Look, somebody's got to be trolling us here because it says his name's Steve-O, and it really sounds like Steve-O.
Well, the name says Brad Wright.
I'm sure Steve-O doesn't follow our show. So
yeah, he might, but he doubt he's leaving us voicemails. But here we go. We'll play it one more time. Is it Steve-O?
No.
All right, well, this is something I wanted to tackle with someone because you guys don't know. This is Steve-O, and I'm saying reach out to about the Kurt Cobain conspiracy and the Michelle Obama dick theory. I've always heard that Michelle Obama had a big dick, but nobody even conquered that subject yet. So go ahead and do your thing, boys. Rock on, you guys roll.
I mean, I don't really want a lawsuit, but
on the dick thing,
yeah, on Michelle Obama's dick, but
I like the guy in the background. Dick. It's funny. Anyway, we got 3 more anonymous to round this out. Let's see what we got.
All right.
What up, my fellas? I've been watching your shit for a little while, man. I'm kind of digging it. So y'all keep doing what you're doing.
We're gonna try.
Man, I got some ideas. I'm thinking about like maybe chemtrails or man, I got a bunch of stuff. But right now, man, I've been focusing on like chemtrails. Man, I remember asking my dad what that shit was when I was like a kid. You know, them jets up there leaving trails and whatever, man. And I've been doing a little homework, blah blah blah. But man, what is that shit, man? What is that shit they just leave up there? Them big old white trails, man. Is that just exhaust? Is that aerosol? Is that some fucked up shit they just be leaving up in the sky? I don't know, man.
They're shooting cyanide.
It might be worth taking a look, but whatever, man. You guys are doing a good job. I love y'all. Went to high school with both of you. You guys rock. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. Love you guys. Be good.
Dale Hannigan.
You think it was Dale? Could have been.
Yeah, Dale Hannigan. Yes.
Chemtrails, though. It's funny you giving somebody shit about liking chemtrails. I
just can't.
Because I don't know how many years now you've been like, chemtrails are real. Look at these nozzles, man. Check out these pictures.
Years. Easy.
At least 3 or 4 years you've been bothering me with that crazy shit.
Okay, watch a couple of chemtrail videos and then tell them what you think.
Oh, now you're back to it?
No, I'm not back to it, but I'm saying, oh, yeah, that's bullshit. Yeah, that's what you're going to figure out.
Well, maybe those videos are fucking with you to make you think they're bullshit.
It's all
There's
propaganda.
so much disinformation out there. I don't even know what to believe anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, Seth makes a great point. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and maybe sometimes we add to that.
All right, these next 2 are short, and I think one of them is you fucking around, but we'll find out.
Ball sack.
Okay.
That wasn't me.
That was the entirety of that one.
A pretty good one. Who was that one?
Ball sack.
I don't know who that was.
That might have been Andrew.
Could have been. This one I'm pretty sure is you.
Yeah, he's like,
hi, man.
What's even better?
Tell Everett he sucks.
Yeah, that was you.
Yeah, that was me.
All right, who's your picks, man? I'll let you have final call on this.
Well, we got to give the one guy the shirt for the idea.
Yep.
Which I don't remember who that was.
Off the top of my head,
I think it's Victor, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's Victor Sanchez.
Okay, so Victor gets a shirt. Kevin, the Shit Ripper guy.
Shit Ripper wins. Can we play that one again?
Shit Ripper, yeah, Shit Ripper for sure.
All right, hold on. I'm looking for it. Oh, there it is. Here's Brandon SRT, Shit Ripper.
Eric and Everett, I got a conspiracy for you.
It's great. So, yeah. That doesn't sound fake either. It sounds like he actually farts.
But for real, y'all need to check out.
That's a real fart.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's all we really need. Okay, we'll finish.
SpaceX thing.
Oh, yeah, the SpaceX thing? I agree. We'll check that out sometime.
So, Victor, Andrew, Kevin, and Shit Ripper. Shit Ripper, if you can get with us and maybe give us some, an address to ship this shirt to. I might fart on it a few times, but they're all, so here's the shirts right here.
Just message one of us. We'll tell you what we got. First come, first serve.
Fair enough. Queen is a lizard.
Is she?
Well, that's what the shirt says.
All right. Check on voicemails. Yeah, let's get on with it.
Let's get on this.
So, like we said before, today we're talking about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, the blockchain, all these buzzwords that everybody keeps talking about. Most people don't know anything about it. All you know is people are putting money into it and supposedly reaping huge benefits.
Huge.
Have you invested yet?
Negative.
Not a dime.
Not a dime.
I've invested a little, and I've mined even a little bit more. So just enough to get a base feeling for how to get in and out of the ecosystem. we'll get to the ecosystem.
What's your first thoughts after your little minor investment to check shit out in your little mining project?
I got a lot of different thoughts. There's a lot of different facets to Bitcoin. Depends on where you're coming from. Like, what's the question of my thought on it?
Well, let's start out simple with, we know it's a form of currency. So,
right.
you know, will it succeed as a form of currency is the question. Because since
let's
times
talk
began,
about what currency is and what it's used for.
So, ever since times, you know, it's been on a barter system. Thousands of years ago, you know, I'll trade you this chicken.
I'll
for
trade
your
you my
goat.
banana for your cow.
Right. And only until, you know, they started using the precious metals, golds and silvers, did it move away from the barter system. It was because people...
There was a few other things they used before gold and silver. They used corn, dried corn, and a few pelts were used, but they're all commodities. So there's something to give a backing. So if you want to make a trade back in the day and you only had bananas to trade and the person you wanted to trade with only had the cow to trade, but they didn't want bananas.
They didn't need bananas.
So what do? You need an intermediary, and that's where commodities come from. But eventually... Right. That got inconvenient whenever the economies were growing faster than what the commodities could back their currency. In 1971, Nixon dropped the gold standard. So for the longest time, since I think 1900 even, America had been on the gold standard, which means that every U.S. dollar
was backed by an amount of gold in the...
Right, that you could easily go to, if you knew the right bank to go to, trade your dollar or dollars in for an equivalent amount of whatever today's value of gold is.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I see it, that's almost exactly the way Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies operate these days.
Yeah. No.
All money is really it's just a language that conveys value to other people.
Exactly right. It's some way to convey value, a common way that people can get behind and trust. And
that's the thing, for it to succeed, they have to trust it. They have to trust it and understand it, which is a lot of the reason why I don't think Bitcoin is going to be used as an everyday currency, because not enough people trust it, not enough people understand it. Now, if that seems to change where, you know, 75% of the world gets blockchain, understands what it is and what it's used for and why it is in place the way it is, you know, maybe it'll get more trusted the more it's understood and be used a little bit more. But I don't think that it can transition to a full everyday what I'm getting at is you're not going to go down and
so you think it's trust that's going to keep it from being...
I got to run to the market real quick and go buy a gallon of milk. You're not going to go...
Well, most people
don't
even know
Bitcoin thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most don't even know how like the American economic system works or any economic system works, but they still just trust it because everyone goes along with it.
Exactly.
If you get enough people to go along with it, though, you know, the herd will follow.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people in their minds are just so used to Bitcoin being referred to as like with the Silk Road. Oh, what do you need Bitcoin for? You're going to buy drugs or whatever online. I mean, so many people have that negative connotation in their heads about it. And I'm not just saying Bitcoin. We mean cryptocurrency in general, but Bitcoin generalization.
Right.
So, but a lot of people get that like, oh, what are you buying drugs online? You know, so a lot of it has to get past that stigma of just being that.
I think it is past that.
Well, for people that are invested in it, it's totally past that. For 50% of the world, for grandma, for 50% of the world, it's not past that.
Or more than 50, I guess.
Yeah,
you're right.
You know what I'm saying? Like for it to be a trusted everyday currency, the majority of the population has to understand it and.
So you think that's what it's lacking to keep it from or one of the things it's lacking?
I think it's got the bad stigma that Silk Road gave it. You know what I mean? Because that's what everybody heard. You know, oh, you use Bitcoins to buy hitmen and drugs, and it's got that bad stigma with it. And the people that are investing are past that. The people that are learning about it, that are interested in these cryptocurrencies are past that. But like you said, grandma, 50-year-old mom, and they're just not the majority. Now, don't get me wrong. There's cases where people will invest, but I'm saying the majority of the people will not get behind a currency that's just completely online. They have to have something physical in their hand. You know, it took like 400 years for people to adjust to paper money. You know what I mean? I think that came out like late 15th century, early 16th century, paper money, and people were still wanting to use gold and silver, still using it every day. 400 years for them to completely move over to paper money. Credit cards, we talked about this earlier. Credit cards came out in the 1950s. People didn't really start actively using them and trusting them as an everyday essential necessity until like the 80s. You know what I mean? That's 30 years it took for people to get a new form of payment under their belt to figure it out. So I'm not saying that cryptocurrency is going to fail. I'm saying that it's been around for 10 years. We might need another 20 before it's accepted, understood, and trusted the same way as your normal currencies are, or that even. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It doesn't have to replace fiat currency. It can exist alongside it but it's going to actually make governments have to behave, because people are going to start to take back. They're going to learn that it's not censorable, that they have control of their money and they can't freeze their stuff. And in that case, they're going to have a really hard time fixing it. And so,
well, what makes it so attractive to people? A lot of people are like, "Oh, Bitcoin, So, but why? Why is it so attractive to people? Why is it attractive to you, Seth, Everett, and everyone else that's in chat that is interested in cryptocurrencies? What made you so attracted to this? Was it the potential investment, the gains that you could make off the investment? Was it the
it's a revolutionary standpoint.
It's decentralized then. It doesn't have anything to do with a centralized bank or government. So it's peer-to-peer.
That's what a lot of people see.
So that was what you're attracted to. So that's what I'm saying.
For me, that doesn't matter.
Reasons.
For me, that doesn't matter. For me, it was the investment opportunities to make money off. And I think that's what the majority of people give a fuck about is making money. A lot of people don't really know or care the difference of why a central bank is a bad thing, why intermediary banks for money transfers are a bad thing, and where these extra fees come from, and how the blockchain and Bitcoin and other such cryptocurrencies can help them avoid those problems. People don't give a fuck. What they care about is January 1, 2017, the price of Bitcoin was $1,000. December 31st, 2017, it's hovering around 16,000.
Right.
That's what people care about, I think.
But I'm saying, so what I
it's a financial revolution disguised as a get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
It can be both.
It can be both, but for what I'm saying is that for it to be an everyday currency that people are going to need to use, it's got to move past just where it's an investment.
I'll tell you
where people look at it as an invest in Bitcoin. They're not saying use Bitcoin, spend your money, spend Bitcoin. They're saying invest in it. You know what I'm saying?
And hold it.
Hold it. Yeah, it needs to be used.
So
for it to be like $1.
It's that mindset though that makes me immediately a little weary. That screams pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
So whenever and it's not like the people who created it, Satoshi Nakamoto. Which nobody knows who that guy is.
I've got a lot on that dude.
But it's not like he's telling people hold on to it. It's going to appreciate in value. Do this. This is what everyone thinks. But at the same time, the people who created it have the same effect of what a pyramid scheme.
Digital scarcity.
It's very interesting.
It's programmed digital scarcity is what it is. It's sound money that can't be censored. That's why most people that were in it from the beginning got into it, and now it's all the speculators and early adopters coming in. And I think it's just a matter of time before people really start to learn and understand what it is. But particularly it's the younger generation that's really into it. And so really all you need is the younger generation to understand it, because eventually they're gonna make way for the younger generation. That's all they're gonna know eventually.
So you think so much the same way as today, like 15 and 16-year-old kids have debit cards that their parents give them for gas and shit. You know, they were basically brought up on a card system versus having 20s in their pocket and stuff like that. You think it'll be the same with the next generation for Bitcoin?
So you won't pay with a card, you pay with your phone, more or less, like a near transaction. You just wave your phone at something and it debits your Bitcoin account or whatever wallet you tell it.
Well, they have Bitcoin debit cards. You know what I mean? That are accepted where Visa and MasterCard are accepted. You can get a Bitcoin debit card.
The thing about that, though, those Bitcoin debit cards, they're not a quote-unquote Bitcoin-issued debit card. They are a exchange that has given you access to your funds via Bitcoin. It's not like you're going through Bitcoin to cash in Bitcoin. This is a service somebody provides.
So there's fees related with that and everything. I gotcha.
If you think of Bitcoin and the blockchain as if it's the internet, it's still 1992, and all these little kinks and everything are being worked out right now. And there's all these other cryptocurrencies and different tokens that are actually used as utility on the blockchain network that can do certain services. Like we have the ability to decentralize our identity. We can take it back so they're not stored on some central server somewhere that's able to be hacked, by some hacker that sees it as a honeypot.
We keep saying blockchain. Let me explain what blockchain is, and my understanding of what blockchain is.
You just take cinder blocks, you chain them together, and that's
that is not quite how blockchain works. Okay. It looks similar. It does the way you can conceptualize it to look like that, but that's not really how it works. So a traditional ledger system, the way your bank runs it or PayPal runs it, exist on a
all a ledger. Anybody runs all the way to your local drug dealer down the street has a ledger.
You have one in your checkbook.
Yeah.
So, but in a banking system or like a PayPal type of system, that ledger is in one place. If you want to access it, you access the bank systems, you access the PayPal systems, or wherever that one copy of it, and that one copy may exist on their cluster of servers.
Susceptible to fraud.
It's still centralized in their business, and if they were to get nuked, that's gone. If the end of Fight Club happened, all that debt or spending would be gone. So with the blockchain, as it was created, it was created in what 2009, I believe, by Satoshi Nakamoto. Sorry, he created a decentralized peer-to-peer distributed ledger system. Now, what that simply means is a computer network that's created out on the internet where all these individual computers talk to each other, each have an exact copy of this digital ledger on their machines. And now this ledger is split up. It's split up into what are called blocks. The very first block was the Genesis block. It was created by Nakamoto.
You had it right.
Nakamoto himself. It was the first, I think, 10 to 15 blocks of Bitcoin or something like that. Where was I going?
Blockchain. You were explaining blockchain.
Oh, yeah. So
what's wrong with you?
Every time, every 10 minutes, a new block is created. So what you have out on the internet are miners. These mining computers, I'm sure everybody's heard mine for Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah.
All these miners do is verify the transactions and do what's called a proof of work. The proof of work is where the real meat of the transaction comes in and makes it so that it cannot be spoofed. So after it does the initial calculations and writes down every transaction that's taken place in this last 10 minutes, and this is the first one that's actually accepted to have done the work, it sends it out to the rest of the Bitcoin mining network, where at least 50% of those miners or computers or calculators, however you want to look at it, look at that set of transactions, that block that it has done, and verifies it. As soon as it's verified, it is actually added to the blockchain, and at that point, that block is immutable. So each block of the blockchain is set up like this. It's pretty freaking simple, and this is how it gets the name chain. So when it creates a new block, it gets what's called a hash assigned to it. A hash is pretty much a digital fingerprint, like a 30-something digit alphanumeric code. So it'd be like A745B6, like 30-something decimal or 30-something places long.
Right.
That's enough for more serialized transactions than we could probably ever use.
Trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions.
It hashes itself, and think of it like an envelope that's got that written on the outside that tells it what it is.
Right.
All the transactions for the last minute are inside there. It has its number, and it has the previous hash number of the block previously done to it written on it. So that whenever a computer goes to look at, like one of the miners goes to look at the chain, it can look and see this was the next one, and here's what came, or here's one, and here's what came before, and it can follow it all the way back down to the origin of that fork or that chain.
Mm-hmm.
That's the blockchain. Everything must be 50% verified by the rest of the group, and after it's verified, it can never be messed with again. So you can't send the same pieces of Bitcoin or currency or same transaction values again. And to go further with the blockchain, it doesn't have to just be used for currency ledgers. You can do it for anything where you're keeping records that you want to, like financial transactions. This house went to this place,
right?
Or this person, or this company. Anything that you want to keep track of a transaction of any kind of item that you want to be non-editable at that point. You don't need to audit it. You'll never need to touch it again because you have faith that this network, and again, here comes that word faith with any kind of system. You have to have faith that the software is written correctly and good enough not to be hacked. And that's where it boils down to right there. If you have faith in that technology, that type of blockchain, that algorithm, that's what gives it value.
Well, let's talk about that. What the algorithm is for Bitcoin, SHA-256.
That's one of them, yeah.
So
that's an encryption algorithm, actually. It's not the algorithm for. So the way encryption works is an algorithm. So you say you have block A of data, and you want to obfuscate it so no one could read it. You create an equation that takes each small piece of it, runs it through a math problem, and gives you an output. And you do that for every single piece.
Right.
But how you do that is there's an equation that has a small part of it that is variable. So say the equation is something simple like you take the first letter, multiply it by 5. I know you can't multiply letters and numbers, but just stick with me here. And then plus it by random number that you decide, that's your key, and then a couple more calculations.
Right.
So when you send that out there, it cannot be decoded unless you have that one variable piece of information, the password, so to speak, that completes that code out. That's what SHA-256 in its simplest form is.
How was that developed?
It's a scheme. I believe the NSA did that one.
The NSA came up with that, yeah. So that's just going to feed
There's a billion different.
theories.
There's a billion different crypto types out there from
That's
MD5
fair.
to SHA-2, the whole 2 suite, which includes SHA-256,
The majority of them are either using
512.
Script or SHA-256.
You
or
have no clue what you're
256D.
talking about. These are
I'm
letters
looking
that are
right
random
now
on
at
a page
list
to you.
of cryptocurrencies and the hash algorithms that they use, and I'm saying
You can't
that the
spell hash algorithm.
Okay, carry on.
I finally got you. But anyway, that's the blockchain. Oh, he looks mad. Eric's like, I've been interrupted. I'm done with this. Sissy. Seth, you know more about this. What are some of the different types of crypto, and where did they start? What was the first one? Bitcoin, as far as we know, is the first blockchain available cryptocurrency.
Yeah, Bitcoin is the first one. The technology actually, the first form of distributed ledger was actually used by SETI in the 1990s, where people could help search the stars on, using their computer power. But none of that, really got used until Bitcoin came along. Then Ethereum, there's been forks of Bitcoin, which is like if somebody decides to change the rules of the Bitcoin network, they can create a fork of Bitcoin, which means it copies the ledger and starts a new one with new rules. So like Litecoin is a fork of Bitcoin, and it changed the rules by making there be more units.
So let me stop real quick and explain forking a little bit more in detail.
Yeah.
So there's two different types of forking. There's soft forking and hard forking. So when a fork happens, it means that the miners, the people that run the miners, the mining software, have decided that the current algorithms and set of rules for a cryptocurrency need to be updated. So on a soft fork, all of the miners are allowed to update these rules at their own pace, and they're all backwards compatible. So if Bitcoin had a small soft fork, everybody would continue to use the same Bitcoin. It's just got a few new rules that people will catch up as they go. Now, when there's a hard fork, that's like whenever it turns into Ethereum or Litecoin or a whole nother coin. So what happens then, imagine it's actually a chain.
Right.
And somewhere along the lines, a group of these miners decided, we're updating the rules. We don't care if the main chunk of Bitcoin follows what we want. We believe we're correct, and if they are correct and everybody believes it, they become the new Bitcoin. But if they don't, you'll get something on the side like Bitcoin Cash. So imagine your chain's dropped, right? And at the very point of fork, another chain clips off and they go off in two separate directions.
Right.
So they have this complete same history from the point of fork before. So the side effect of that is if you own Bitcoin and it forks, you now own both the same amount of Bitcoin Core and, say, Bitcoin Cash.
So forks are good then?
They can be good. But sometimes they'll drop the value of both halves to less than what the original was. It just, you have to know a lot about it to make money off these forks. I know shit about it. Seth, how much do you know about how to really play these forks, see them coming, and exploit it?
Well, there's different websites that kind of keep track of anyone who's going to fork the Bitcoin blockchain. And up until this point, they've been seen as free money, but now it's seeming like people don't really care about these forks. So who knows, maybe one will come along one day that everybody says, hey, this is a much better Bitcoin than the original. But I don't really see that happening because the Bitcoin maximalists, they don't care that the current rules make it slow and expensive to use. They just enjoy the purest, that it's untouched. They just want it to be what it is, the digital gold. And they've kind of established that.
That sounds like a religious faith in a currency. I've chosen my path, and I'm not going to
that's kind of
deviate.
That's kind of what a lot of them have.
We're the chosen ones.
Yeah, it sounds like way too much of I'm stuck hard on Bitcoin, and I put all my money into it, so I don't want to see anything else succeed because this is where I made my investment.
There are how many different cryptos are there?
Shit.
Like 1,100?
It depends on which exchange you go to, but thousands, I believe. Number of crypto.
There's also what are called tokens, though, too. Difference between coins and tokens. Coins are just used as a unit of account on a blockchain, whereas tokens are actually programmable to use as a certain utility on a blockchain. Like, there's decentralized VPNs, but you have to use their token to use their VPN. There's also a project that's trying to decentralize the internet, so it would circumvent this whole net neutrality shit. We don't need the government to tell us, that to make the internet fair. This company is actually decentralizing the internet so that the ISPs can't throttle certain websites over others.
Almost in an attempt to make net neutrality a non-issue.
Yeah,
or at least that's a
algorithm.
side effect of it. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah.
Real quick, I was looking at coinmarketcap.com. It's a list of all what the current cryptocurrencies values are and their circulating supply and market cap. It's listing 1,384 cryptocurrencies on it.
1,300.
I'm sure there's way more than that, but that's what at least this place recognizes. With a market cap right now, might I add, of over $800 billion in circulating cryptocurrency.
So let's explain how you keep your crypto bucks from getting stolen.
Well, I mean, that's...
How do you keep them? Do you keep them just in a folder on your computer, or how does this work?
There's many different ways you can store them. Seth, how do you store yours, if you don't mind saying? Do you store yours on exchange? Do you have your own private wallet?
I use what they call a hardware wallet, where it looks like a little USB device, and you plug it in, got a little screen on it. And what it does is whenever you want to make a transaction, you bring up the transaction and everything on your computer and everything, and then when you're ready to send or whatever the transaction, it gets sent to your little hardware wallet, and on the screen you sign it basically with your PIN number, and once you sign it, then it encrypts it, it signs it, and sends it back to the computer so that you can use that little device on the most virus-ridden computer that there is, and no virus will ever be able to see what's on the device because it only has enough hardware to sign the script and nothing else. It can't actually change the transaction or anything. And then once it does that, it sends it and broadcasts it to the blockchain, and it gets recorded on the blockchain.
When you started out, did you start out immediately with your own wallet or even a hardware wallet, or did you start out on exchange? How did you get going, Seth?
I started out on Coinbase. When I first found out about Bitcoin, I thought it was pretty interesting, and I downloaded the Coinbase app and just kind of looked at it, and saw past prices and stuff, and I was like, that's interesting. So I started to really research it and dive in, and as I'm learning about it, I'm slowly buying in a little bit, and eventually, you just become engrossed in the possibilities of the technology and everything, and you get so excited. Then I kind of, a little bit of paranoia takes over when, that number starts to rise. So I started looking into hardware wallets and stuff like that to see what the most secure way of holding your stuff is. And I say hardware wallets are definitely the way to go because, especially with this new Intel chip fiasco.
The other day was a big deal. Yeah, the mind blow or something like that.
Yeah, so basically software wallets are just as vulnerable as any of these chip vulnerabilities. So hardware wallet is the way to go.
Let me ask you this. Hang on, let me stop you right there. You said something that was like, it got you nervous. And it got me thinking.
Yeah.
So with this sort of investment, you make money, you lose money. Do you consider this gambling as much as it would be like gambling with the stock market? And if you do consider it gambling, do you think it's you can be addicted to gambling on crypto? And then I'm going to follow that up with saying, do you get an adrenaline rush whenever you gain money like this? Like if it fucking...
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so would you say this is maybe like gambling a bit? Like as far as it feeds those sinners the same sinners in your brain that gambling rewards. You know what I mean? Whenever you spike on Bitcoin or you win a hand in blackjack, you feel like it's the same exact feeling there?
The dopamine rush, of course it is, yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Well, that's like saying the stock market's gambling or currency speculation's gambling. It's risk versus reward. If you want to boil gambling down to what it is, right?
Yeah.
So
it's an emerging market, so it's so volatile. It's this emerging asset class is coming up, and as people learn, they speculate on it, and it's been compared to the .com bubble. But the .com bubble got all the way up to about $7 trillion before it hit its peak. And, I'm, here to talk about really the investing. I really like it from a revolutionary standpoint. The whole cryptocurrency is kind of a side effect of the blockchain itself. You know, it's one application that can be used for it.
Right. If you hop on YouTube and start searching for applications for blockchain, that was one of the coolest things I was researching, was just all the different ways people are using it, like hospitals doing their own. And it's kind of funny because you think of blockchain as a decentralized ledger, but you can also use the same technology in your own private blockchain where it's a centralized, decentralized blockchain. So there's all kinds of really cool applications for this technology that allows you to keep an unalterable record.
Now, isn't XRP, which is also called Ripple, right? Isn't that
That's one of them,
isn't that
yeah.
made by a bank? Isn't that like a
Yes.
That's a bank. So that's
Us-
like
Us
their
tinfoil wearers, we don't like Ripple.
Right, so that's like a bank's attempt at having a cryptocurrency whenever people that are investing in cryptocurrency are actually trying to get away from banks, centralized banks.
Yeah,
So they're
and
like,
they have
we'll try
control
our shot
over that.
at it. Right, exactly, yeah. Okay, that's what I was wondering about that one.
Ripple has the third most volume, though, right now of any of the cryptocurrencies.
Of course it
Oh,
does.
yeah, it's all
fucking
It's
government.
got over $3 billion in volume out there right now. No,
Yeah.
sorry. Is that right? Yeah, $3 billion. It's fucking nuts.
I think it's the central banks trying to get their hands on our Bitcoin
I like it.
because
It could
they,
be, man.
they know
Shut
that
it
it's going to
down.
be the store of value someday, so they're just trying to slowly eat it all up.
Let me ask you guys this. What would be the problem with, say, maybe not the government, the U.S. government creating their own blockchain for our currency, for the American national currency, but endorsing one to where you are now allowed at this point, there'd be two currencies in America. One of them is the blockchain currency. One of them is the physical cash currency. And the goal of this would be convert all physical cash into the blockchain. What is your problem with that? If all the processing and the regulations were agreed by a consortium of people, not government, but endorsed by the government, would you have a problem with that? Because that seems rather a lot like a central bank.
I wouldn't. If the government decided to peg the dollar to Bitcoin, I don't see a problem with that. As long as that meant they stopped printing the shit out of it and inflating it. Because, I mean, I don't know how it would work otherwise.
Well, that's the difference between the dollar and Bitcoin. And dollar is an inflationary currency, and the Bitcoin is a deflationary
If the government's telling all Americans, you guys should buy Bitcoin, it'll go right in there well with our dollar. Something's fucking fishy. They're either standing to make a lot of money off of it, or they need us to think that. Or I'm just saying.
Well, there's the
They either
third
say
possibility that maybe the government's ready to embrace a change, and they realize that this is.
yeah.
It's a possibility because it's not the government, as I always remind you.
I understand
It's
that.
the people in the government who make these decisions.
And they're
now
all
you could
assholes.
get generally,
They're
but
all
every now
assholes.
and then you get
Once
somebody who wants to
people-
make real change.
Once people get into the government that own all this kind of currency and everything, it's over with. Because, I mean, think about it. If Bitcoin gets up to a high enough value and, you know, the government is full of people, crooks that are able to be bought. So, I mean, why wouldn't they accept Bitcoin, you know, to get some legislation across?
It's hard to say.
I mean, it's
I know
useful to them.
I can tell you why the government wouldn't want Bitcoin.
Why wouldn't they ever?
Well,
yeah,
the first concern is money laundering. If you can send money
That chick in New York got
pseudo-anonymously,
caught sending it to ISIS, right? That lady in New York got caught sending all that money to ISIS through Bitcoin. Isn't
right?
that a
I mean,
thing?
that's true. That is a thing. But it is possible to be nearly completely anonymous. If she's not taking the right steps to guard herself, that's one thing. But the concern is, with a little bit of effort,
they
Bitcoin can
find
be
her, I
mostly
wonder?
anonymous. I don't know. I'd have to do a little bit more research into it, but that's a big problem. That's one reason.
That's how they took down
every
the guy
money
from Silk Road. They
every
knew.
money transfer authority that operates in the United States must be regulated. For a company that we run aside from lineup here called ePlata, it's another money transfer.
ePlata.
It's another money transfer thing. It's not a cryptocurrency. It's a remittance.
ePlot is the new crypto, do you say?
No. It's more or less a remittance app similar to PayPal or Western Union, but it deals mostly in cross-border remittances. So whenever we did that, every employee that is above, like the lowest level, had to undergo money laundering training. To here's all the warning signs of what it looks like whenever you see it in an accounting software. I had to go through all that.
Yeah.
So they take money laundering at the highest level very fucking seriously, and it would scare them to have a ledger that, sure, tells you exactly what happens, but you can't say whose it's going to, where it's going, and how does the government get their piece?
They don't.
That's one thing too I was thinking about today. If
Well,
the one thing the
that is
government would have to do if
problem.
they were to say, hey, this is our government sponsored, not sponsored, or there are our crypto coin. There's something called a smart contract that's built into blockchain. What they could do, and this would eliminate the need for accountants, is just create the smart contract that every transaction, based on type or whatever, has a certain percentage that gets sent to the government. Boom, taxes are
Right.
automatic. Now you don't have to do a tax return at the end of the year. There's no need to audit because it's all there on the distributed ledger for anyone to look at, and it's been verified by half plus the entire network. That'd be kind
Exactly.
of cool,
really, the possibilities are endless, but Pandora's never going to go back into the box. I mean, the government's going to have to figure out how to coexist with this new system.
Let me ask you this. Is it possible ever that the world goes one world currency on a cryptocurrency? Can you have a cryptocurrency that doesn't relate its own value to another outside
I would
currency?
think that would be a better faction than that would be a better way to go than trying to go
I think-
euros, yen, dollars.
Yeah, but how do you know what a Bitcoin's worth if you don't say it's worth X dollars or X euros? It's just X Bitcoin with nothing backing it. We're used to the dollar. Europe's used to the
Because
euro. We know its relative stable value.
Right.
Bitcoin does not have a
The
relative
thing-
stable value in its own regard.
Cool, it has to be related
The
to
thing
another
about its
currency in order
value
to-
is it's pegged to the value that the miners put on it, how much power that they have to put in to mine it. Eventually, there'll come an equilibrium where it's not so volatile. It'll just kind of
Objection,
hover
speculation.
there.
Fair.
I mean,
Well-
the value of the Bitcoin could rise until 2140 when the last Bitcoin is made.
And you know what? It very well could.
And then it could
And if that happens,
fucking just drop completely off.
if that happens, then I have to add granularity to it and make it go past 8 decimals. Because, and I've thought about this too. I asked some people in some groups, I said, would that be considered inflation? And they said, no, that's just granularity. You subdivide those Satoshis. And I thought about that, like, that would just make every older generation substantially more wealthy than the younger generation. And I wonder how a society would work like that.
That's one way to look at it, actually.
What?
The longer you have into it, and if you hold on to it, it just means the people who've held it for longer have a higher worth just because they've waited. It's that young of a currency that could happen.
Right.
I know, it's kind of strange. And at a point you were making there, Seth, what was your point? Having trouble today keeping up a little.
Well, the governments, there actually is some governments that are looking into making state cryptocurrencies. And
you said something there that triggered me, but I forget now.
I'm sorry, I can't think about it.
Well, we'll get back to it. I'm sure we'll come back around to it.
Oh yeah, for
Well,
sure.
here was something interesting. I was screwing around with a calculator earlier today, and I got to thinking what it would take and what it would look like right now if Bitcoin took over the entirety of the world economy. So I Googled total value of the world economy, and it gives me this number that in 2014, 2013 nominal GWP was 75 trillion worldwide. So let's do a little math to see what that would mean Bitcoin would be worth to be able to handle the entirety of the world's cap. So
Funny, I done exact math.
that's pretty much where you go if you start thinking about it. You have to kind of go this way.
Right.
So right now the
Yeah.
circulating supply of Bitcoin is 16.8 million Bitcoins.
That's what's in right.
That's what's in there.
That's out.
So let's put 13. What was that number from? 76 trillion. We'll call it 76 followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 zeros, and divide that by the 16,800 Bitcoins in circulation right now.
16 million.
Or 16 million. That gives you a rough value of every Bitcoin at over $4.5 million of Bitcoin.
If
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin was to take over the entirety of the economy of the world, and it was just going to, accept the responsibility to be worth what every bit of money on Earth is worth, each Bitcoin would be worth $4 million.
Yes, that's what I am telling you. Nice. So
if you think about this, there's only actually about 8 million that actually circulate because other ones are just lost to the wind when people lose their private keys and stuff.
Right. I wonder how close you are on that guess. How many? Because I remember back when Bitcoin first started, a friend of mine, we were doing mining on a small basis. What we thought was small at the time. We never even made enough money to order a pizza with it. We thought it was really cool. I think we had 5 or 6 Bitcoins, right, on a small little hard drive that we kept our wallet on. Eventually, like we said, we got $6-7 of it is worth nothing, so we just let it go.
Right.
So now that same 5-6 Bitcoins, whatever that was, is over $100,000 or close to $100,000.
Yeah.
How much of that has happened? How many people have lost their Bitcoins, their wallet, their key to their wallet?
I think through blockchain analysis, they've kind of come to the figure of about 8 million that actually get actively transacted around and traded.
So whenever you think of actual cash, I read an article earlier where there's 3 types of cash. There's circulated cash, there's cash that's like available for loans, and then there's the cash that gets shipped all around the world. So it's the actual physical cash or Bitcoin that half of it's missing. It's just gone. It's like, say, half of the cash that we think should be out there, people have burned up.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really work the same way.
Or they're hoarding it.
Because with cash, the Federal Reserve would be like, we need more of it, make more of it. But with Bitcoin, we can never make more.
That's the thing. Like, how does the Federal Reserve know how much cash is just lost? You know, just burn everything like that. Like
smart,
that's.
Well, actually, they don't care.
No, they don't give a
Yeah.
fuck.
That's
I
not
think
even
that
how it works at all.
We're kind of. That's what makes the dollar like. That's the biggest bubble ever. That everybody's just trusting in this thing that they if you walked into the Fed right now, they probably just got a bunch of people just not even knowing what they're doing. They're just printing out like it's willy-nilly.
Oh, yeah, you never seen that video where Bernie Sanders asked that lady from the Federal Reserve to explain the missing trillions of dollars, and he's like, you mean tell me you don't know where these trillions of dollars are?
That's pretty much it.
Fucking bullshit.
They have no idea. Yeah. They don't give a fuck. Norman Greenspan or whatever the hell his name is.
You know, that's the thing about, our generation. We've grown up and we're waking up to the fact that all these adults that have been running the world our whole lives that haven't known what the fuck they've been doing.
Yeah, most of them.
Well, they've just been winging it. They got no real plan of attack.
How do you have a plan of attack though whenever you can't, like, especially in this technological age we're in now from say 1980 on, where you can't predict 5 years ahead of you what the landscape's going to look like technically, economically, socially, politically. There's been so much change.
Think at you.
Why are you going to do that?
I don't know.
You don't like the way I'm talking, do you?
No, keep going.
I don't know. You blew my flow. But you get my point. It's changing so often. How do you plan for that? How do you plan? You don't know what computers are going to look like.
I guess there's no real way to prepare.
What's that?
Buy
Bitcoin. That's your prep?
Yeah, buy crypto.
I shall use preparation H.
Uh-oh.
Did you ever go to a software wallet? Or before you got to the hardware, did you just get from exchange to hardware wallet?
I just from exchange to hardware wallet because I had read about the vulnerabilities of software wallets. I mean, I have in the past, like just for to try it out. I tried it, but it was after I'd already had a hardware wallet. Yeah. I just wanted something that I could use if I, with a little bit in there if I absolutely needed to.
So let's talk about right now the couple ways I know of to store your Bitcoins and how you can have them sitting around. So at the base level, for me, how I have my Bitcoins is two places. I have $5 or $6 or $7, depending on what the cost of Bitcoin is right now, sitting on Coinbase Exchange. So Coinbase is a place you can go, anybody can go to and exchange any currency basically for 4 key cryptocurrencies.
Kind of like going to a new country, and then going to their currency exchange place and changing in your dollars for euros. But
you create your account, you input either your bank ID, your bank information. It connects up to your bank via API, so you can do a direct pull from your bank into their exchange, or you can use your credit card or do a direct wire. There's many ways to get U.S. dollars or whatever your main currency is. So what you'll do is you'll put in a purchase order for X amount of Bitcoin based on how many U.S. dollars you want to transfer. So I started out fucking around. I put in $5. Bad idea right off the bat. There was a $1 fee. And I found out that dollar fee basically applies up as far as you go. So the higher up you go, that $1 may mean nothing, but to me it was a 20% fee right off the bat.
Right.
So my investment was $4. Looking at it today, I made this investment, 2 months ago whenever Bitcoin was around $11,000. That $4 that I put in, which cost me $5, is now up to $6.08. Over a 50% bump basically in actual invested funds. But the problem with that is this $6 is sitting on Coinbase's servers.
What's going to cost you another $1 to get it out?
Irrelevant. It may, and it probably will. But the point of that is, what if Coinbase itself gets hacked? They control the keys to my wallet. I don't have that wallet. I have an address that I can send the money that's on that exchange, and it sits there, and it's mine. But what if their main servers get attacked, and they control my funds on their exchange and all these other people's funds that are sitting on that exchange, where they're waiting to come out into their bank or waiting to be changed into some other type of currency.
Right.
If they get hacked, it's gone. I can't do shit about it. It's the same thing.
That actually is a problem right now.
That's a big fucking problem.
That happened with
Coinbase.
Go ahead.
Coinbase is insured, but then there's also decentralized exchanges on the way that can't be hacked just because they're built on the same kind of technology.
Ooh, a blockchain exchange. That's interesting.
Yeah.
A blockchain. Weird. Well, the other way to do it, too, is also when you mine. There's two different types of mining. The mining I do is what's called pool mining. So to mine a block of Bitcoin is a tremendous fucking undertaking. You got to have not just your Intel Pentium processor or i7 processor or whatever you're running, it would take you fucking years and years and years to ever think about mining just a single block of Bitcoin. So what you do generally
Get a pickaxe.
No, you don't get a pickaxe to mine it. You join what's called a pool of miners, where they take hundreds or maybe thousands of people, pull them up together, use their distributed computing resources to try to solve these full Bitcoin problems, and then that one representative entity of the whole pool gets the payment for that Bitcoin, the reward for figuring out that hash.
And they distribute it as they see fit.
Well, not as they see fit, based on the amount of work you did on that pool that cycle. So it's pretty fair. But at that point, after you get paid for it, it just sits on your pool account. And you have to tell it, send it to a wallet account. So again, if that pool gets hacked, there's all these distributed Bitcoins that are just sitting there, but you don't have the keys to these wallets or whatever. So the person who gets on there can be like, send every bit of the money onto the system. The only exists is records in their non-blockchain, who has what, because we say they do. We'll just take it all.
I think there's so much
scare.
potential for fraud in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. It scares people.
There's not once the transaction is made, there's no potential for fraud.
You're just talking about getting your account hacked and everybody stealing all your That's okay. So
but that's not the fault of the technology.
It's so early.
It's not the fault of the technology, but that's a byproduct.
It's the same thing as your bank.
Technology.
If your bank gets hacked, it's the same exact thing.
Right. Well, what I'm getting is people trust the bank more than they trust this online currency.
Which brings me to my next point. Which is why I was saying you don't leave your money on an exchange. You don't leave your Bitcoins or whatever cryptocurrency on your pool account. You get yourself a software wallet.
I've got somebody telling me that, not to do that.
Right. You get a software
somebody
wallet.
That's just trying to invest in there doesn't know that, without doing an extensive amount of research, they could just be throwing their money away.
I would hope anybody that's got to the point where they're, at least that they're mining, they have done the research where they know not to leave their money.
I'm not even talking about mining. I'm talking about the entire
small investing, like doing it on exchange
scheme in general.
If again, you're an idiot. If you put anything more than a few $100s into something and not understand more than just the base aspect,
you really have to keep in mind how early that it is in this whole technology coming up. Like, don't let the $15,000 or $16,000 Bitcoin fool you. That's that price because it's so scarce, and it is the first. It's got the first mover advantage, and then add in the fact that all these speculators are rushing in. So, I mean, eventually this technology will seep into everything. This technology will be being used, and people won't even know that they're using it.
Yeah, to me, the blockchain technology behind it is way bigger, I think, than the fact that you can run currencies with it.
Really?
Right.
Pardon me. To have an immutable way to have a record keeping that, unless you could somehow come up with a serious amount of computing power to take over that half of that network or more, it's pretty fucking good.
Well, yeah, and
we have an immutable record of history now. From here on out, we could record all the happenings in the world. Imagine if the Bible was able to be put on the blockchain and no one was able to ever mess with it.
It doesn't, like, what's inside those blocks on the blockchain doesn't have to be the records of what a currency is. It could be like email. You could use email, blockchain for email. It could be subject, text of the email, who it was from, who it was to, when it happened. These are the things that are inside the record of that blockchain. And once it's written, that email can never be fucked with again. It happened exactly as it was written.
Well, they're not like it's blockchain. It's not like MP3s or videos, or it's not like you can duplicate these or anything like that. Or
no, because as soon as you make a change to a block, you fundamentally alter its hash. So the hash is calculated based on the contents of it. If you change the contents at all, the algorithm that calculates that hash number will change that hash number, so that the block after that, now its previous hash it had written onto it doesn't match the hash that's actually there. So that chain breaks right at that point, and the blockchain is broke.
Right.
It's like a network of notaries.
Pretty much. That's exactly. I've seen several videos that actually represent the relationship between blocks as notary signings.
So you don't think you guys don't think cryptocurrencies are any more vulnerable than regular currencies, as far as like
vulnerable to what?
Vulnerable to just vulnerability in general, whether it be your money getting stolen from a bank or your wallet, whether
it's the same exact thing really at this point, because if somebody steals the passcodes to your online bank account, it is the same thing if somebody took the time to steal the keys, your encryption keys to your wallet, your Bitcoin wallet, or whatever your crypto wallet is. It's the same thing.
Let me ask you this.
It's all about your personal security.
Let me ask you this. You got three choices. Nuclear bomb's going to drop. You want to take all your assets in cash, gold, or Bitcoin?
Gold, I guess. Because cash and Bitcoin.
So that's what I'm getting at. It's
Bitcoin, you don't have to grab anything. You could get to it anywhere else in the world. You could just leave as long as you have your private keys. But you could memorize those.
But if it's a nuclear war,
a 20 character like
what your wallet address?
Yeah,
something like that, 20, 30 characters. But the point is, if you have a nuclear war and you drop out all infrastructure, there's no infrastructure to keep the Bitcoin network around.
Exactly. You can't go
but the same thing
somewhere
with
else
cash.
and get your Bitcoin.
But I mean, we're fucked anyways. If that happens.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, at that point, it's really back to barter. At that point, if gold might be again the commodity that people use as a common commodity.
I think you guys are thinking more like EMP, no electricity forever.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what it sounds like.
No. Not what I'm talking about. Talking about just a disaster.
Okay.
So I mean, it doesn't even have to be a nuclear bomb. What about like a fucking tornado or a massive hurricane that wipes out the West Coast? And you got to get out. You got
to cash at that point. If the government still exists,
gold
cash.
Or Bitcoin?
At this point in time, cash.
Cash.
Cash is king.
That's where Bitcoin
now, if you hit the reset button,
that's where cryptocurrency needs to be in order for it to gain to be a major player.
Well, cryptocurrency relies on
game.
infrastructure. Cash does not rely on complete infrastructure because it is a physical item. Bitcoin relies on an electronic infrastructure of the internet existing and its army of miners for that particular blockchain existing and working. Without that, it's useless.
So and up until earlier this week, I didn't know that all miners are doing is solving the transactions. They're just basically verifying these transactions.
Solving the transactions and doing a proof of work.
So if everybody stopped mining, what would happen? Every single miner stopped mining. What's going on?
That's it.
That's it. It's game over. No
for that chain.
For that chain.
And that happens whenever you have.
That's why you incentivize.
Go ahead,
That's
Seth.
why you incentivize them
with a reward. That's why whenever it's the way you continue. Like whenever they do this work, they get an amount of Bitcoin. So whenever the amount of currency or reward they get does not cover their cost for their personal infrastructure, be it electricity, housing for their mining rigs, their servers, whatever, then they'll stop. At that point, why would you bother?
Well, so Jordan Heiser in the chat says, can you guys ask Seth if the pure amount of energy needed for these cryptos is the biggest obstacle moving forward?
I wonder what he means by that.
There's a lot of debate on that as far as like what the power consumption and everything. But honestly, if you ask me, there's a lot of things that use a lot of energy, and that's the one thing that's keeping it propped up in value. You know, is the fact that they have to use their own resources to secure the network. So I think
what if you got solar panels on your house?
Oh yeah, solar panels, go for it, Like I think that's the way that we're going to end up going is you're going to have Bitcoin mining operations completely solar powered or wind powered, whatever. There's so many ways around the whole
genius way to do it, right?
Well, that's a smart way around it. If you think about the incentives people get right now from the government and tax breaks from renewable energy sources like geothermal or solar or wind.
Yeah, when you put electricity back into the grid,
you can almost get that shit free any which way.
Right.
And then you toss on top of that, you're using it for mining. Psh.
Yeah, and there's also network blockchains. You can actually sell your energy. Like if you have a solar farm or a wind farm, you can sell that energy and get paid in the token of that network, and it's all automated.
Nice.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
What about
it's basically a digital barter is what we're going to. There's going to be all these different tokens and coins and everything, and they're all going to have their own purpose on different blockchains and everything.
So what do you mean by that? A different purpose? Like you'd have one currency you'd want to use for gasoline, or
only use Litecoin to travel. When you got to eat and drink, you want to use Ethereum. Whenever
you'll have your general purpose ones, like Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash and all that, and then there'll be utility tokens where, say, like there's a company called Civic, and it basically is an identity platform. So you can have all your identity information and everything totally encrypted on your device. And the only way that somebody can get access to that is if I let them. So my identity information is not sitting on some central server that can be hacked. Like this whole Equifax thing that just happened not too long ago.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about how blockchain can be used for third world countries that don't have any kind of central identification system. Might as well start now from scratch with the blockchain. And I agree with that. If we were to hit the reset button right now, like you were saying with like a nuclear war or whatever,
right,
and have to start all over, and we have enough infrastructure to create and maintain a blockchain at that point, why not do that rather than starting over with a new cash system or a physical currency?
Yeah.
I mean, if you can hit the reset button and that kind of revolution happens, let's do it.
And that's crazy because what you were just thinking, like, so what about like people in Africa that don't, you know, that maybe, or maybe you live on the border of a couple countries where they have different currencies, and it's just easier for you to have all your money in Bitcoin or crypto.
That's what happened with the euro.
And when you go back and forth, all you need is your little wallet, and you can just change it for.
That's the exact reason they invented the euro over in Europe. They had all these little different types of currency, from the Deutschmark to the franc to the pound.
Right.
That why not?
And if you think about,
go ahead.
If you think about the ability of the chain and all these different currencies to penetrate where banks will not set up their shop, like in Africa, they've been using phone minutes as a currency for years.
No shit.
Until Bitcoin.
So that's something that's very interesting too about a lot of these third world countries.
That's fucking cool.
They have generally a deeper phone usage than we do. So smartphone usage, for instance, in Mexico, I know is more than one device to one person. So it's like 1.3 devices to a person down there. They have more. What's the word? I've been doing a lot of stuff with this ePlata product, so I got a lot of these.
They don't have the infrastructure to have the internet lines ran to their house. That's why
exactly
a lot of people
right.
have those smartphones. You
Exactly
know what I mean?
right. The infrastructure is skipped wired in a lot of these places.
Right.
And it skipped it so fast that I have multiple devices to get on now.
Right.
That's where you're going to see the digital currencies coming about. The need for a physical cash in these places has just got skipped.
Maybe this is grandpa.
Yeah, and it's going to give all these third countries the ability to actually flourish, because they'll get they're going to start using this system because they have no other choice, and then as their currency gains in value, then all of a sudden they have the ability to just transform their way of living, all based on the value that surrounding countries give to it. And the whole thing about people say that it's in a bubble and stuff like that. Well, currency doesn't have to bubble. It can gain value, and then people just value it back and forth. It doesn't have to be sold on the exchange to actually.
I think what the issue people have with it is you don't see things like the dollar going 17 times its value in a year. That's where people start to think.
Right.
It's a
There's
bubble.
no stability. They say it's volatile.
Right, but it's very slowly going down. The dollar is. That's what people don't really notice the floor being
the Fed
taken
itself. The Fed itself targets a 2% inflation per year over year. That is their target. They want inflation to happen. That is their train of thought for how money should operate. Bitcoin is
exactly.
deflationary.
Yep.
And
it's actually earned into existence instead of loaned into existence, so it never has to be paid back.
Right. Pretty far out shit. What do you think about the possibilities of using Bitcoin to finance terrorism?
It's possible.
Or pay for like giant amounts of drugs, like for the cartels. It's
possible.
These people generally
rely
on. Go ahead.
More than any other currency, the dollar to fund terrorism. So Bitcoin is.
But to be fair, the dollar funds everything from oil to. There's so many countries.
Basically the world, but you didn't hear that from me.
No, there's so many countries that have so much invested in the dollar. It's not just America that's trying hard to keep the dollar from failing. It's countries. It's all these oil countries over like Saudi Arabia that want the dollar to stay strong. That they have so much of their own wealth in the U.S. dollar rather than their own currency. That's why you probably won't see a long time for like Bitcoin and these other currencies taking over.
Right, but all these other countries, they're getting tired of the inflating dollar. So a lot like Japan, they made Bitcoin a legal tender.
Have they? I haven't caught up with that yet.
Yeah, in Japan, it's a legal tender, and there's like Bitcoin ATMs everywhere.
You can get sake now for a Satoshi. Give you a Satoshi for
Let's talk
a
about
sake.
Satoshi. That's kind of the most conspiracy thing about this.
Yeah.
So this guy,
that's a really interesting part.
This guy in 2009, Satoshi Nakamura.
He said he'd been working on it.
Nakamoto. Fuck, I fuck it up every time.
Nakamoto.
Any which way, he invents the blockchain technology and Bitcoin itself over a period of several months.
Years. He'd been working on it since 2007.
But the final parts where he finally gives it out to people was a period of months. But the funny thing about it is that nobody knows the guy or knew the guy other than his presence on online forums.
You ready?
All of his all of his
I'm just
talk
going to
with
read the wiki.
Do it. Read the wiki.
And it goes into a lot of stuff about him. So
Hit it up.
In October 2008, Nakamoto published a paper on the cryptography mailing list at mutzdowd.com. That's METZDOWD, Metzdowd, either way. Describing the Bitcoin digital currency. It was titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. In January 2009, Nakamoto released the first Bitcoin software that launched the network and the first units of Bitcoin cryptocurrency called Bitcoins. Satoshi Nakamoto released the version 0.1 of Bitcoin software on the SourceForge on January 9th, 2009. Nakamoto claimed that work on the writing of the code began in 2007. The inventor of Bitcoin knew that due to its nature, the core design would have to be able to support a broad range of transaction types. The implemented solution enabled specialized codes and data fields from the start through the use of a predicative script.
Yeah, this is how blockchain works, is what you're explaining now, right?
Nakamoto created a website with the domain name bitcoin.org and continued to collaborate with other developers on the Bitcoin software until mid-2010. Around this time, he handed over the control of the source code repository. Don't die on me now at 10%. The source code repository and network key to Gavin Anderson, transferred several related domains to various prominent members of the Bitcoin community, and stopped his involvement in the project. Until shortly before his absence and handover, Nakamoto made all modifications to the source code himself. The inventor left a text message in the first mined block, which reads, "The Times 3, January 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks."
So do you understand what he's talking about there?
Why don't you explain that to me?
So his reason to create Bitcoin was a response to that big financial
bailout of 2008, the housing market.
So whenever he finally goes to do his first block, the headline of the newspaper that day pretty much put him over the edge, showing that the government's, again, and this people think he's probably from the UK due to the way he talks.
Yeah, they said bloody difficult and stuff like that was how he's quoted.
He quotes just the fact that there's another bailout of this financial system coming from the government, which he found to be just crazy. Why are they doing this again? Why are you propping up this old infrastructure? So that's why he decides to put that in as the first little fuck you to the system.
Yeah, so it's a strong indication that the first block was mined no earlier than this date. The Genesis block has a timestamp of 18:15:05 GMT on 3rd January 2009. This block is unlike all other blocks in that it doesn't have a previous block to reference.
Block, right?
Yeah, so it's the very first block. They call it the Genesis block because Genesis is the first book of the Bible.
Well,
I mean, I guess that's speculation, but
that's not why they call it the first book of the Bible is called Genesis, because of what the word means.
Oh, it's because of Bitcoin. It's required to use custom code to mine it. Timestamps for subsequent blocks indicate that Nakamoto did not try to mine all the early blocks solely for himself. As the sole predominant early miner, the inventor was awarded Bitcoin at Genesis and for 10 days afterwards. Except for test transactions, these remain unspent since mid-January 2008. The public Bitcoin transaction log shows that Nakamoto's known address contained roughly 1 million Bitcoins. So that dude gave himself 1 million Bitcoins. The guy that nobody knows who he is. So as of December 17, 2017, this is worth over 19 billion United States dollars.
Yeah, that's over 6% of the total Bitcoin supply.
That's out right now. Well, no, it's out. It would be
1/16th. Because he had 1 million under 16 million, roughly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
6.25%.
Fair. That's insane. That makes him the 44th richest person on Earth, and we don't know who he is. So
there's a lot of people who think he's a group of people too.
Well, so I'm getting to all that.
Yeah.
Nick Szabo and all these people.
Right.
I'm working there. Nakamoto has not disclosed any personal information when discussing technical matters. He provided some commentary on banking and fractional reserve tanking on my fucking computer on his P2P on his banking reserve. On his P2P Foundation profile as of 2012, Nakamoto claimed to be a 37-year-old male who lived in Japan. But some speculated he was unlikely to be Japanese due to his use of perfect English and his Bitcoin software not being documented or labeled in Japanese. So, Japanese name, but he's likely not Japanese.
Well, there's an actual guy that they thought his middle name and last name was Satoshi Nakamoto. And he was like, I'm a fucking MacGuffin, more or less. I don't know anything about it.
I'll skip right to Dorian Nakamoto.
Yeah.
Some people even speculate and say that maybe AI is Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that seems crazy. I was making a joke to my wife this morning. I'm like, it's only a matter of time for people start saying, what if this blockchain becomes, sentient?
Oh, my God.
It's coming, and you just said it, Seth. There's a lot of people out there that think that it's fucking AI already, so it's only a matter of time.
Okay.
I don't know.
In December,
you know much about the cypherpunks?
No, but
so the cypherpunks were a group of crypto analysts, and you're getting ready to go into it? Okay, go into it.
In December 2013, a blogger named Sky Gray linked Nick Szabo to the Bitcoin white paper using a stylometric analysis. I have no fucking idea what that is. Szabo is a decentralized currency enthusiast and published a paper on BitGold, which is considered a precursor to Bitcoin. He's known to have been interested in using pseudonyms in the 1990s. In a May 2011 article, Szabo stated about the Bitcoin creator, "Myself, Day, and Hal Finney were the only people that I know of who liked the idea, or in Dai's case, his related idea, enough to pursue it any significant extent until Nakamoto, assuming Nakamoto is not really Finney or Dai or Szabo."
Finney was the first person to actually receive a Bitcoin transfer. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then.
So detailed research by financial author Dominic Frisby provides much more circumstantial evidence, but as he admits, no proof that Satoshi is Szabo. Speaking on the RT's The Kaiser Report, he said, "I've concluded that there is only one person in the whole world that has the sheer breadth, but also the specificity,
specificity.
There you go, of knowledge, and it is in this chap." However, Szabo has denied being Satoshi, and in July 2014 email to... It's over.
Just lost your computer?
Yeah, she's dead.
Why didn't you bring your charger?
It's in the other room.
Good idea, man.
The wiki, it's right on the wiki.
Nope, not going to do it. You fucked yourself on this one, pal.
All right, well then talk about the crypto dudes.
Well, no.
Cypherpunks.
Basically, they were just a group of guys, the only people in like a group of 8 or 9 guys who had the several diverse skill sets available in the interest to actually create this.
Right.
So every time somebody starts to go, who the fuck is Satoshi? It's one of these 8 or 9 guys.
It points to one of these dudes,
right?
Yeah.
But every one of them claims not to be. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? We'll probably never know.
At this point, why, if you were Satoshi Nakamoto, why would you tell anybody?
I don't know. I'd sit on that million stash and wait for it to go from 17,000 to 170,000.
How many billion was it? How many billion was it?
Too many.
Right. So I mean,
let's
don't
find
tell
out.
nobody who you
We'll
are.
just do 1 million BTC to USD. Thank you, Google. Google says that is holy cow. It's gonna take me a minute. There's no actual commas here. 16.9 billion.
17 billion dollars.
I guess that makes sense.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
1 million times 17,000.
To be Satoshi Nakamoto.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Or not. Maybe he doesn't exist. Anyway, that's pretty much all I had on Bitcoin. Seth, any other kind of points about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, blockchain, any of that crazy shit you wanted to pass on? Or
if we were Jerry
should know?
Springer and you had a final thought, what would it be?
Ooh, good call.
Well, I think it has amazing implications for society going forward, and other than that, it is the biggest financial opportunity of our lifetime.
Agreed.
But I'm really excited for the future because of Bitcoin, or the technology behind it, blockchain, and everything like that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Do you suggest? I'm sure you do, but would you suggest people invest right now?
Well, I don't invest more than you're afraid to lose. Invest if you believe in it, but know what you're investing in. If you're going to invest, research. Do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, but there is some pretty exciting projects.
Let me give some financial advice. Put any extra money you have directly in, if you don't want to spend any time learning about it, directly into Bitcoin, and I guarantee over time you're going to make money. Simple as that.
Yep.
Right now, put money in. At the end of this year, you will have increased your money.
Let me give you some financial advice. Don't take these two fuckheads what they're saying. What you do is you take your money, you put it in your sock drawer or underneath your mattress or bury it in a jar in the backyard. You're good to go.
Yeah, put those,
those
pennies
away. If you invest too much, more than you're willing to lose, you're going to go crazy watching it go up and down.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. Treat it like a 401k or a savings account. That's what I suggest you. Every week, find out an amount of money.
What I do.
Find an amount of money you're okay putting away. If you can afford $20 a week, invest it in Bitcoin every single week. And at the end of the year,
Maybe
I guarantee
not even Bitcoin, just crypto in general, some sort of
coin.
coin.
If you don't want to do the research, I would say Bitcoin's your safe bet. 17 times, and over the course of a year, and as stable as it is the main one, that's your safe bet, in my opinion. If you want to do the research, there's 700 something cryptos or 1,300 cryptos that you can go find one that fits what you want, that you believe in its way of doing it, and you think it's going to make you
money.
Wait a
minute, what did we talk about in the office the other day? How if you made $1 million off Bitcoin, you can't just draw it out right now.
Why not?
Remember Tony was saying something about it, how you can't just pull your money out. You have to have
so it depends on the exchange. There's limits to your in and out per day. So right now, I couldn't purchase more than 7,000.
If you're watching it crash, you can't pull your money out as it's crashing. You know what I mean?
Some accounts have more.
You can't pull your $100,000. You can go get 30.
It's a trust thing.
You can sell it, but you can pull it into your bank account slowly. You can sell it for US dollars and keep it in the USD wallet on Coinbase if that's what you're using, and you can slowly withdraw it into your bank account if you want. But you can definitely sell it all at once. if you need to.
And if you're really worried about it, put in multiple accounts, multiple smaller accounts. I mean, that's all it is. And if it's in your wallet, you can't sell it anyway. You can't just take from your wallet and sell it to dollars. You have to put it on an exchange.
What if, I'm just saying, like, this is a big what if, but what if you have to have, say, that's your 401k. You know, if with a 401k, you got a 401k, you could.
It's easier to get out
you
than.
can draw it out. You might pay a little penalty.
You can't do that with 401k. I guess you could, but that wouldn't be a little penalty.
Well, okay, yeah, so it's not.
There's rules for 401k. If you change your life situation or change your job, then you could pull out money, and there's still a penalty. But
that's another thing. Tax implications as far as the first of this year, any crypto to crypto trading is taxed on any profits that you may have incurred.
It's not. It's not just the profits. Any transaction is taxable. Be it a transaction between types of crypto. So if you change your Bitcoin to Litecoin, that's taxable. If I send you money via Bitcoin, so says the IRS.
I'm not doing
that transaction is taxable.
Yeah, well,
so people who are day traders who do 100 trades a day. Think about the technical nightmare that is, because these exchanges don't have the tax documents available like you would need to keep up with that the IRS would require.
Right.
So you have to create your own to stay, with the IRS, your own record keeping, your own way of record keeping.
Oh, I got that. I did one trade today.
Yeah, see.
For 25 cents.
But that works for you and all the other assholes who don't really care, about regulation. You just want to say I'm beyond that, but to be
if you hold on to it if you hold on for a year or more, you're taxed way less. So that's why I just hold on.
Long-term versus short-term investment.
But you don't. Isn't it that you don't have to pay taxes on it until you pull it out and convert it into a currency? Isn't it not taxable until you convert it into a currency?
That's the way it was, because it was more like long-term, short-term investments. But they don't look at it that way anymore. The way the new tax codes work, it's the transactions themselves that are taxable.
Oh, so they just make the fucking rules up
just
as
like
they go.
Just like it's U.S. dollars.
Oh yeah, because it's new and they don't know what they're dealing with yet. These retards in Washington, they're not tech savvy.
Well, it's just like when you go down to the store and you buy $1 pack of gum and it ends up costing you $1.07. It's the exact same thing, except it's digital, and they say we don't have the ability at the transaction level to put this tax on. You keep track of what you've done. Be honest about it.
Oh, we're on the honor system now.
That's the way taxes have always worked. For anybody who has real amount of money, when you start atomizing shit, until you get audited, it's honor system. Now, if you give them a reason to not believe you, that's when you get audited, and that honor system shit's gone.
Maybe
that's why I think they should just get rid of
because
you don't have
taxes work. Is I take my tax return to the.
You take your W-4. You don't take your tax return.
I take
W-2s.
take my W-2 to the turbo tax or whatever I'm doing, and then they give me what money they see fit back to me.
Yeah, you don't have money.
There ain't no honor system there.
You don't do an itemized deduction where you count up all your spending, and if it was a business related.
I fucking wish I could, because I spend some money.
You don't spend shit.
I spend a lot.
You spend pocket change.
I spend a lot of money.
Yeah, not to the IRS.
To me,
you're not. It's not worth their time to ever audit a person like you.
No,
or me.
Hell no. Why would they? I don't have enough money.
Exactly my point.
I think the biggest implication of this technology is voting. It will make voting seamless and absolutely not corruptible.
I totally agree with that too. To write the entire balloting system and counting and tabulating system into a blockchain, why not? Why fucking not? And
no Russia collusion.
What you do is you start up the blockchain around November 1st. You start up the blockchain around November 1st. You know what the scary part about that is? What if, and you could do it, take over more than half of that blockchain to where now you control who says what these transactions are. Like when it only takes just over 50% of the
51%
to say this is a valid transaction.
Of a network.
But then it would just be up to the people to make sure. Well, there's different algorithms that different projects are working on too, where it's not up to a 1% like a proof of work algorithm. They have what's called proof of stake. There's also force distributed technology where it doesn't matter how much power you're putting behind the system, you get way, and that's it. There's all sorts of different ways, and it's all just kind of being experimented with right now.
Yeah, even though it was invented in 2009, it's still in its infancy. So I recommend anybody, like I said before, stop putting in your 401k, stop any kind of savings account, put it in Bitcoin. If you're saving it anyway over time, fuck all these 2% over inflation type of deals they give you. What you want is just like what people did last year.
all the 401k's job is to do is just keep up with inflation.
Right. Just invest to make sure your money doesn't lose worth over time.
Yeah.
Scam.
I mean, it's not a scam, but it's a worthwhile way to keep your little chunk of money as a little chunk of money. If that's what you want to do, is not lose that, have that little chunk of money not dwindle, but not particularly grow, and that's fine. But if you want that money to grow and fast, where you can see it happening, right now, Bitcoin is the way. Bitcoin and altcoins. Seth, if you had to recommend an altcoin right now, or you had this ask in the chat, what would you recommend?
Neocoin.
Mm-hmm. He is the one.
We had some guys in the office just recently invest a couple months ago in HTML coin. Apparently, that just blew up. A couple of them were a few $100 in and walking away now $5-6 grand. So
yeah,
that's get rich quick as it gets. You put in $200, wait a few months, and now you got $5-6 grand.
The altcoin returns are insane, and you can go crazy watching ones that you don't have go up, and you want to chase it.
I've seen it, dude. It's hilarious when they're like, "Oh, I should have got into that," or X got into that.
Yeah.
Fuck that motherfucker for getting into it, and I didn't.
Right.
It's always hilarious.
Yeah, that's risky. That's the riskiest thing about it. So I just pick ones that I really believe in, and I put my money in it, and I let it sit. I don't worry about chasing the big risers and stuff, because you can really mess yourself up that way.
That movie sucks.
It's too emotional.
Let me ask you this: How do you pick an altcoin? How do you gain faith in it to the point where you think this is worth investing? What makes any altcoin attractive to you?
Divine intervention.
Probably not.
I look at the implications and the market that it's trying to disrupt, and see what the exact use of it is, and how like world changing it is. If it really solves a problem, then it's going to do good.
What problems are solved by the new altcoin? Say Davecoin comes out tomorrow. What is the problem that is likely to solve to make it worth money? To make it something that will gain money, gain value? That's my problem with it too. Everybody says it solves the world's problems, but from an investment standpoint, nobody can ever tell me what problems are solving to make it worth more money. It's always, to me,
well,
faith
that's
in
the thing about the
and a
speculation.
flavor of the day. Yeah, it's
When are we
a
going to get a
speculation.
peace coin then? If we're solving the world's fucking problems here, let's get us a peace coin. Maybe
I don't care what the fuck
maybe
you
a
call
hunger
it.
coin.
Yeah.
That's kind of why, it can get so overwhelming. A lot of people are just like, fuck it, I'm just going to keep it in Bitcoin. And, a lot of people just use altcoins to get Bitcoin. Because they see Bitcoin as being the future world reserve currency. And so they think, okay, well, I'm going to use these altcoins to kind of gain up my Bitcoin. So they'll buy these altcoins, and once they shoot up in Bitcoin evaluation, they sell it all for Bitcoin and then just kind of keep stacking it. That's the way a lot of them do.
That's the way my mining works, actually. I use a program called Awesome Miner in conjunction with a website called Mining Pool Hub. It takes about 5 minutes to get figured out and set up, but what it does is it looks and finds the most valuable coin at this moment in time for my particular set of hardware to mine. And then it changes. So every half an hour it looks and says, right now, Dogecoin is worth the most amount of money that I can mine per my hash rate. So for the next half an hour, it's kicking it out. But after it does that half an hour and I've got X amount of Dogecoin sitting in my wallet, the auto exchange takes over on the mining pool hub and translates that over into Bitcoin. So it's always constantly mining whatever's the most valuable altcoin and turning it into Bitcoin for me.
Nice.
So check that out if anybody wants to get into it. All you need basically is a mid-level or above video card to get into it, be it an AMD GPU or ATI or an NVIDIA GPU, just anything above something that's 2 or 3 years old. You could start making $1 or $2 a day on the minimum on some of these shitty little cards. I think I'm making like $6 or something like that a day. Probably not.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is you can't really mine Bitcoin anymore unless you have a really powerful ASIC miner, which is it's
even
a miner
ASICs
that's
anymore
made for, yeah, even those are having a really rough time. You got to keep upgrading them and stuff like that. It almost mining not even worth it.
Right. Yeah,
But
these
unless
ASIC
you have a
miners too.
big,
What an ASIC miner is, it's basically a headless computer that you plug into the wall and plug into a network port that is set to specifically mine one type of coin. It's got specific hardware that's not like your video card.
Right.
That it has the algorithms built in to specifically mine that, and that's all it does. But if that coin that you bought that miner for ever becomes useless or too hard to mine, you've spent the money on this equipment that's nothing now.
Right.
But at the same time, that piece of equipment usually per dollar will do you way better than a GPU doing the same job. So.
And then there's other coins too that use proof of stake algorithm. So like if you own a certain amount of coins, you get a certain percentage added to it. It just compounds every day or month, you know. And certain ones that you can like you can actually loan. You can loan them out and gain them back in interest and stuff like that. There's all sorts of different coins out there that are programmed differently.
How far out? I guess that's for me though. I think I've pretty much handled on Bitcoin for today. What do you guys think?
I'm handled.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Seth, thanks for coming on the show this
we
week.
appreciate it, Seth. Thank you
Again,
very much.
He's been saying for
Thanks
months,
for
you
having
guys got to do a altcoin, Bitcoin, type of crypto show.
Yeah, keep at
And
it,
as soon
man.
as we decided to do it, I was like, well, we're gonna at least have to consult Seth on this one. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's have him on the show. Why not?
Keep at it, man. Make $1 billion.
Appreciate you coming on.
Glad to inform you guys and all the rest of the listeners.
Oh yeah, appreciate it, dude. We love any kind of first-hand information, and since you've been messing around with it for at least probably a year, you're way beyond where we're at. So it's real nice to have you on and be able to answer these questions that we can just toss at you instead of going, "Hey,
No
Google,"
problem.
which we love our Google and all. But
Yeah.
it's better just to ask you. So what are we doing next week? I think we decided on a show people would talk about on the group, a show about hell. But I wanted to change it around.
I'm
not
there
just
every day, 9 to 5.
You love this job. You want to go back to your old one? No, I wanted to take it from just hell to talk about any negative afterlife, be it Hades or any of the other different types
We're
of.
going to talk about putting coins on the eyes for the boat, man.
Might as well, crossing the river Styx.
Oh, well, that'd be good. Like different cultural.
That's exactly where I want to take it. The thoughts that people have whenever the bad guy goes to the afterlife. What happens? Not heaven, not Nirvana, not Asgard or wherever the fucking Valhalla.
That would be Valhalla, yeah.
Yeah, wherever they all go. Not that. Not even
that.
purgatory
Not
for
even
the
purgatory.
most.
We're talking about the bad shit.
We're talking about places where you burn, where you get tortured for eternity, where you have a bad day.
What if you're into that shit though?
I think they would take it to. I think the idea behind it is, even if you're into it, it's another level.
It's worse than what you want.
It's worse than that he's dead, Jim. It's bad.
All right,
so
yeah.
that's next week.
Join us
hell.
next week for
Surreal Talk goes to hell.
Yeah, people have been telling us to go to hell for a long time.
Yeah, every day.
We're finally gonna get there.
Bongoloid says next week a show on Alabama. Alabama wasn't that bad. I didn't mind it. We were there a couple month ago.
Yeah,
2 months
it
ago.
was a piece of shit town. Remember?
Mobile wasn't that bad.
I mean, it's what it is.
You didn't like it? Okay. Well, anyway. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in on the live chat today, for downloading the podcast. You can find more info about us at surrealtalkpodcast.com or on Facebook or Twitter, or check out our live stream and previous streams on YouTube. We're all over the place out there. If you Google Surreal Talk, you'll find all kinds of shit about us.
Yeah, you'll find us.
If you want to directly get a hold of us, go to our website, surrealtalkpodcast.com, leave a voicemail. We're out of shirts to give away right now, but we'll still play it.
We got 4. Hey, oh yeah, that means you guys need to contact us.
We already got a message from Kevin. I'm sure we'll catch up with this.
Shit Ripper, if you're out there listening, Shit Ripper, we love your work, and we'd like to give you
We'd like to sign you to an exclusive deal, exclusive voicemail deal.
So Andrew Berardi, Kevin Yarrow, Shit Ripper, and Victor get the shirts today.
That's right. So thanks everybody for joining in. We'll catch y'all next week.
Definitely.
Peace.
Should have been Shark Gargler.
Shark Gargler? We're still live, by the way.
Oh.
Hang on just a second. I gotta save this. That's a good show.
Uh-huh. Mobile almost doesn't count. Going north about an hour, and it sucks all the way up to Tennessee. Yeah, Bongoloid, it's a long, long fucking drive through Alabama. Long. Mobile almost doesn't count. Yeah, from STL area, live in Mississippi. It's hell. Bama ain't much better. Yeah. Is that where they roll Tide at?
Alabama?
Yeah.
That is where the Tide is rolled.
Roll Tide. Fuckers.
Why are they fuckers?
I don't know. I just felt like saying it. But yeah, good show today, man. Good show.
Yeah. I can't hear Seth, but again, I'm real appreciative for him coming on today.
I think he hung up.
Did he?
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh. Yep, he's gone. Damn.
9, Frank Reynolds said. Brian is
stream,
cool. I can't wait until next week. Byron is cool.
If
Wait.
you're still watching on stream, thanks again, Seth.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Seth. My family has some property that's still recovering from Katrina in Biloxi. Wow, nice. 6 to 7
really
hours
nice.
north. Yeah, Hattiesburg, where the United States Marines is.
USM, not United States Marines.
University of Mobile?
South Mississippi.
Mississippi?
Yeah.
University of South Mississippi. Is that what that is?
Yeah. I mean, think about it. He's talking about Biloxi. I live in Mississippi.
Oh, yeah, okay, it has
Makes
to be
sense.
that.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
All day here, buddy. Just moved to Central Bama near Birmingham. I used to stay in Wiggins when I was a kid. Oh, man, what? Everybody from the South?
An emu farm. Cool.
Nice.
I always wanted to ride one. Too big. I've been losing weight, so maybe now I'm finally below that emu weight, riding weight.
You think so?
Maybe that's my goal.
An
I
emu
want to get
will
down to emu
fuck
weight.
you up.
Dude, that headbutt. Boom! Can you imagine?
Oh, did you see a video online where that woodpecker just fucking demolished them baby birds? Pow, 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 pow.
Oh, that's messed up.
Got its brains, ate them motherfucker. Yeah, its woodpecker flew up in this nest and was just like, I mean, just murdering the little birds.
Oh,
pow,
that's
pow,
horrible.
pow, just pecking them in the head with his fucking, right through their heads, dude. Just
That's horrible.
Yeah, it was rough to watch.
What channel? What website is that on? What horrible website is on this so I know to avoid it?
It's Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh, he played it on the...
Yeah, he played it on the podcast.
There you go. Thanks, Joe. All right, man. You
Is
about
it
ready
a
to go?
town city? I think it's in Michigan or city or town called
Yeah, it's
Hell.
Michigan. Who was talking about us the other day? Who's from... Frank. Frank Reynolds is from Flint. He knows all about Hell, Michigan, apparently.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm ready, though. We appreciate you guys joining us. Thanks a lot.
Catch you next week. We'll see you all in Hell.
We'll see you in Hell. Go to Hell. The show must go on.